I thought you might enjoy a tour of my garden now that everything is slowly melting off to see what's going on. Haven't started planting anything outdoors yet. It is 7 weeks away from being able to plant outdoors, well, except for my brassicas. So just gonna give you a brief tour. Hi, I'm Whytedavy. Welcome to Whytedavy Garden and Worm Farm. So this is the south side of my garden, and as you can see, the north side of my garden, and as you can see, everything is all melted. See, I have a blueberry plant underneath here that I covered. I'm not sure if it made it, but it is in a container. Okay, it seems as if it survived because I am seeing form of life, signs of life right there. So I'm quite excited. So it's a good thing I put this carpet in here because it seems as if my blueberry survived. I didn't get to transplant it last year because I bought it late when the season was out and they were on sale. So this used to be my tiered worm bin that I dismantled and turned into 2 raised beds. So this is one of them, and the other one is on the south side. So this one, oh nice blue sky, is underneath the tree. So I expect that it is going to be a bit cool here. So I might put brassicas that can withstand some amount of heat but prefers the cool in this raised bed. And this is my main garden area. Over here I have my 2 pallets raised bed. Well, this one is not a pallet raised bed. This one was made from cedar that I brought home from a job site and reuse. This one is a pallet raised bed. So I'm going to have to redo my drip system that I created with hose in here. So everything on the north side is all melted and I am quite excited. I have a little bit of cleanup to do. So again, for my main garden, this caging is what I create for my Scotch bonnet pepper, so that if it is too cold, I can always put it over my Scotch bonnet and then put plastic over it to create some heating. Now, these are my 2 apple trees. This apple tree is, oh my goodness, this is a resilient apple tree. It was over on the south side there where you see that raised bed close to the fence, and we moved it from there. We put it over here, and when we were pruning that tree, part of the branch from the tree fell and broke the apple tree. Now remember, we transplanted it, and the same year branch from the tree above fell on it and broke off the top of it. This apple tree continued producing just the same year that we transplanted it. It still produced quite a lot of apples. That apple tree over there with the leaves, dried leaves, it has been bearing for 2 years now. They're quite delicious. These ones are rather small. They're sweet and tangy all at once. Those over there, they are sweet. Now this cage in here with all these mesh was created for things like pumpkins and melons. So I'm going to be putting that to stand upright as soon as I decide where in here I'm going to be growing my melon. I attempted to grow melon last year with success for the first time. It's my second time trying to grow melon. But the only sad thing is that the growing season ended before I was able to harvest the melons that were on it. But this year I think I might start them indoors, or start them maybe a week or 2 before the growing season actually starts, so that they'll have a better chance of making it to the end of the growing season. Now this is the south side of my garden, and as you can see, it is still heavily under snow. This here is my kids' raised bed, my kids' garden. These blue containers is where I grow my strawberries. The kids have strawberries in their garden. As you can see, part of their strawberry plant that seem to be springing up. And this is my Roma Tomato Bed, but I don't think I'm going to be putting tomatoes here this year. I'll try to rotate them. And this is my scallion bed. I don't know if there's any scallion that's going to be regrowing in here. There are quite a few of them that I did not root out. I just cut the top of them off, so we will see if they're going to regrow. I also have strawberries in here. Oh, look, new growth. Awesome. New growth. That's good. Yeah, so the strawberries made it again. Quite excited. Now this is the upper part of my tiered worm bin that I relocated. So this is going to be used to grow my not Russian kale, what is it called? Chinese cabbage. Yes, this is where I'm going to be planting my Chinese cabbage, and I am so anxious for this snow to melt, because as soon as all the snow melts and the material in here melts or thaw out, I'm going to be sowing my seeds, direct sowing them, and then covering this entire bed with plastic so that I can have an early start on the brassicas, since as they don't like the heat, and I want to ensure that I get the most out of it this year as opposed to last year when my brassicas bolted quite early. Now if you take a closer look at this garden, you will see that we had some visitors over the winter. Can you see those little round pellets? That is actually rabbit dung. So every winter the rabbits come and look for food in here, and then they drop their dung all over. They're even dropping it in these areas where there is no food. Unfortunately, I wish they would only drop it where the food source is, but that's how it is. At least my grass is getting fertilized as well. So because these rabbits like to come in here and look for food, I usually keep on adding food scraps to the garden, but I didn't do that this year, and I wish I had, because then I would enjoy the benefits of the rabbit dung in the garden. But such is life. It was just there was way too much snow for me to come out and add food scraps to it. So these are the beds that I grow my potatoes in. So this year I don't think I'm going to be growing sweet potatoes, but I'm going to be growing the purple sweet potato, otherwise known as purple Japanese yam. So I'm going to be growing those in here as well as my potatoes. So I'll select a few of them for the potatoes and a few of them for the purple Japanese yam. And this is my pallet that I made into a tiered system for herbs. They didn't do too well last year, and I think it might be because of where it is located, so I'm going to be relocating it further down in the year. So this bed on the south side has thawed out too, so I can actually get started with the brassicas that I'm going to be growing in here. Now for those of you who are familiar with my garden, you will know that this is where I grow my green onions and my kales and garlic. And for the green onions, I'm trying to find footing in this snow. For the green onions, some of them I allowed them to remain. I just harvest the top of them. So as you can see there, it seems as if they are starting to regrow, which is exciting. It means that they didn't die. I just hope that it won't get back too cold for them to get frostbite. And then these are the buckets that I like to plant my tomatoes and peppers in, but because they are on the south side and I have my Saskatoon berries, that tree there in the corner is actually my best apple tree in terms of flavor, and it is the one that started bearing last year. Those are my Saskatoon berries, and down there is my cherry tree. So I think this year I'm not going to be putting any tomatoes and peppers in these buckets. I am going to be putting cool weather crop. Everything that is cool weather is going to be on the south side for this year, and then everything that is warm weather crop is going to be on the north side. It will be interesting to see what's in the material in this bag is doing, because when I harvested my potatoes and tomatoes and all of the last set of crops that I harvested, I stuffed them in here and tie the bag, because that is how I kill seeds that I do not want to regrow in my garden. I put them in plastic bags, put the plant in the plastic bag and tie it up, and then leave it for a while and let it heat up enough to kill the seeds, and then everything from here will either go into my worm bin or it will go into my compost bin. Okay, so this is the tour of my garden. One of the magpies that keeps bothering me died in my garden last year. I did not remove it or anything. I just let it stay there. Didn't have a scent even though it was on the surface. It just stayed there and dehydrated. But I'm surprised to see that after so long, because it died pretty early in the season. It died like sometime in May, June. I'm surprised it is still there. I thought maybe some creature would have eaten it by now, or at least they would have eaten it before the snow came, but it is still there. So I guess I'm gonna just bury it and let it stay there and produce nutrients for my plants. I'm going to have to figure out where to put my beans and peas, because I like to grow them along this fence line, but every time that I attempt to grow them along the fence line, I end up with cutworms cutting them down, so I wasn't able to harvest. I was never able to harvest from any beans or peas that get planted here, so I'm going to find a different location to grow them and to see if that makes a difference. Anyway, if you enjoyed this tour of my garden and you'd like to see more updates on what I'm doing in this garden, please take a moment to give me a thumbs up. You can leave a comment in the section below. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe and turn on your notification for more updates like these. Thank you so much for watching, and have yourself a wonderful day. Yeah man, the time for grow.